Welcome. This is the October 17th Park and Recreation Committee meeting. I'd like to call the meeting to order, and we'll do a roll call of those present. Start with
Terry Cope.
Larry Schultz.
Mary Larson.
Claudio Groppetti.
Jeanette June.
And Monkey.
Monkey, okay. First thing on our agenda is the approval of the minutes from our last meeting, which was September 19th. That was sent out in your packet. Are there any corrections needed? If not, a motion would be in order to approve those minutes.
I move to approve the minutes.
Okay, motion's been made by Claudio,
Second.
seconded by Brian to approve the minutes of the September 19th meeting. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? No. Say no. Unanimously approved. Thank you. Motion carried. Next item are petitions, proclamations, suggestions, or complaints from citizens, committee members, or staff. So anybody have anything they'd like to bring up or hear from anybody? Yes, Claudio.
Yeah, and I don't know if this is the right time or not, but just about a little bit of information and maybe a recommendation on this Amera project, the apartment senior living. I went to the city council meeting, and after the meeting, I met with the gentleman from United Properties. We'd been exchanging emails even prior to that. And he said they were very interested in connecting their property to the LRT trail via a boardwalk going across. So, and he had mentioned that you guys had some good meetings, and he seems like a pretty decent guy. So here's my thought. Assuming that United Properties is going to submit a preliminary plat for people to review, and they plan to build this boardwalk across the marshland to connect to the rail bed, can we, one, request permission or have somebody from the city approach the remaining property owners about acquiring their land or access to the land? And in parallel to that, does it make any sense to ask United Properties to give us a bid to build a boardwalk around the remaining properties in the event that they say they won't give us access? My thought is if they're going to be building a boardwalk, they're going to deploy all the necessary resources to put the boardwalk in. And if we don't have the ability to connect to Kirklocken, because we have one or more homeowners that don't want to give us right away, it would be interesting to know what it would cost to just build a little boardwalk that says, okay, we'll just go around that stretch and connect, since we probably got 75% of the land donated via that project. Now, how it gets financed, I don't know. That's to be determined, whether the city council says, no, we don't want to do it, or yeah, we'll do it, we'll just pay for it as a trail, or we'll do some kind of funding to cover that while it's being developed. Just a thought, and any idea, any comments or thoughts on whether that makes any sense to do what I proposed?
I know we talked about it at our last meeting when we reviewed the plan. And I know Ann was in the process of going to look at it. I know at that time, there wasn't permission given by the city to proceed. So I don't know if anything's changed, Ann, or...
At this point, no, because the concept plan was the only item that went to the city council. And then based on the feedback from that meeting and the planning commission and this, now Amira or United Properties will go back and look at plans, revisit plans, and then bring that preliminary plat to planning here and the city council again, because that will include all those items, the LRT donation or dedication, that boardwalk piece will, if they're looking at that, will be included in it. The only thing that I would caution on, we certainly can get a price from them, but if it's a public project, we would have to bid it. Or at least get competitive bids, depending upon what the cost is.
Okay. They could be one of the bidders.
Yes.
Okay. I was just thinking, while they're, got their tools out there, just,
Yes, and I don't know exactly, I'd have to go back to and look and see who owns the land to the north, and we'd have to talk to them about that as well.
oh, right, because it has to go somewhere, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so it's timber wall and the landscaping.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. I'm done.
Okay, any other comments on that or anything else?
I just have trouble visualizing it without a map of the trail and where the apartments are, and kind of trying to put that all together, so. I mean, sounds.
You know where Kirklocken is?
Yes, yes,
So when you walk towards a trail
yeah,
and you take a right turn and you walk into the city.
okay,
If you take a left turn,
yeah,
you'll walk a little ways and hit a dead end.
yeah,
So that's a dead end, and then you have, if you go up to Watermark, where it goes, do you know where the Lake Bridge Trail connects? It goes down the hill.
trouble.
We were
We
out
went there
there,
on
we were
a-
out
Yeah,
there
there.
this summer
Okay.
on our park tour. We walked down the big hill, and it was gravel going out, and then all trees to the right.
Okay,
That's the property.
okay. I'll pull it up, and I may go out there and walk
And
it.
there's a big, long piece of that that belongs to the Haney's that was gonna be dedicated. So that would, what do you think, Ann, 75% of the distance? For the
Probably.
7,
Yeah.
somewhere up there, so.
Yep.
So that expense is gone now, or potentially gone, because they'll donate it.
Okay,
Well, it's not completely gone. You still have to build a trail.
For acquisition of the property.
Right, the acquisition cost is essentially gone.
is there a date where the planning commission is gonna take this up? Do we know yet?
We don't know yet
Okay, so it's up to the developer
to bring that
to get it
forward.
forward. Okay.
Yes.
So, well, keep us posted.
Yep. As soon
Thanks for bringing
as soon as we get that, we will have it scheduled for Park and Rec, planning, and then
Okay,
council.
so that'll be a good chance for us to look at those
Yes.
options too. So thanks for bringing that up. Other items or questions?
I don't know when this should come in. I should have let Ann know, but I went to the Park and Recreation Commission conference, or attended that by Zoom. It was an excellent conference. I would highly, highly recommend that we participate again. There were 15 cities that were represented, some in person, some online. Our first speaker was Will Aberger from the Trust for Public Land. On the purpose is to connect all Americans to the outdoors. And he really went over the national trends about ballot initiatives and how successful they are and where they get approved and that. That was really interesting. Then they talked about ballot measures, the things you need for them to be successful. Also the timing, that you need at least 18 months prep work before you even begin that. And he listed the criteria for that. Then another speaker was the Legacy Grant Program. It's a Conservation Partners Legacy Grant Program. And they talked about the monies they have available and the criteria for that. that the grant request cannot exceed $1 million. But they do have some that are like between 5,000 and 50,000, and they list the criteria for that. The one thing that I learned that was crucial or very important was that there be partnerships involved between Rotary or Lions or, watershed districts or counties. So that was very interesting. They talked about how they monitor the grants, and then they gave some examples of where grant monies had been given and what types of projects they were used for. They've done 900 projects between 2010 and 2020. And then there was another speaker from Bemidji who talked about their city implemented a birds, bees, and butterflies program with rain gardens and how that went. And it was a partnership between the Park and Rec Department, the Mississippi Headwaters, the Audubon Society, Master Gardeners, garden clubs, and downtown alliances. And then she explained why it was successful. And then we broke into small groups and talked about different topics. I thought it was interesting. The online people had one moderator just for us, and then the in-person people had their moderators. And I think, did I tell you there were 15 cities that were there? Some cities have separate environment, and a lot of what they talked about was environmental issues. And so, I don't know, it just made me question. I need to do some more research about what we have and what, commissions that we have here. They were encouraged that the different commissions within a city meet together maybe once a year. For example, we might meet with the Planning Commission maybe once a year, just some ideas. And so anyway, I would highly recommend that we participate in that again next year. I will be getting a PowerPoint presentation and some other information. Very good contact information about who to talk to, and their web addresses, email, for resources for future questions and that. So it was like from 10 until 1:30 Saturday, but very, very informative. I was exhausted. I was concentrating so hard, going, what? Wait a minute, let me write that down. So anyway, thank you, Ann. I appreciate the information on that very much.
Well,
Do you know if they were recorded that? I mean, could we?
They may have. Yeah, I'll find out when I get some of the material after it. So.
Thanks for the report and thanks for attending that. Okay. Other comments, questions on any other topic? Hearing none, we'll move on to the next item, new business, which is the recommended consultant for design, service, bidding, and construction management for Lakeside Estates Park. Ann, you want to take this one?
Sure, thank you. So Lakeside Estates Park Phase 2 is scheduled to be constructed next year. We acquired and built Lakeside Estates Park Phase 1, back in 16, 17 maybe. And the piece that we'll be looking at was developed later on, so we were just able to acquire the park dedication for this to create about a 5-acre neighborhood park. So we put together a concept plan when the development came in, and it included a small parking lot, a ball field, and some trail connections to the existing park. There's fairly substantial drop-off between the two, so we want to make sure that we get those connections in as well. We sent out requests for proposals about a month ago, and looking for design services, which we utilize a firm that provides a lot of times engineering, landscape architect, and so what the proposal asked for was First, completing plans and specifications. Second, bidding the project, and then providing construction observation and management services. This project, we've got about $350,000 budgeted for next year. So we ended up receiving 4 different proposals from our engineering pool. Staff reviewed them. This is the information, kind of the high-level information from those proposals, the amount of hours that they are planning for the project, and then the dollar amount. So as you can see, they're kind of all over the board. So one of the advantages with WSB and Associates, they actually had designed and constructed the first phase of the park. So they're very familiar with the park project itself, and they have done several parks within the community, and work very, very well with staff. So I'm just going to go back to that. So the plan would be to get a recommendation here tonight, take to council next Monday evening, and then start working on all those things that we need to get moving on the park right away after the first of the year, so we can hopefully try to get a good bidding environment. So that is kind of the stages that we have set up. So we'd be looking at probably January or February bidding the project, and then awarding probably in March, like somewhere in that time frame. So with that, I'm happy to answer any questions that you may have about it, about the park or the design firms, or the proposals.
Do you have an overview, a map that backs out a little bit, just showing where this is? I know it's next to Marsh Lake, but
Just north of Marsh Lake and south of Wasserman Park.
I'll try to bring this up for you.
and is it across the street from that new development that?
It is,
It's across Marsh Lake.
yeah. So here is Marsh Lake Road. Here is Wasserman. So this park is right here. So it will serve, basically it serves this whole southern area as one of the parks in the area.
And that's Victoria Drive.
Yep, so 43 here, Marsh Lake, County Road 11.
What's the name of the development south of?
This one?
No, along Victoria Drive.
South of Marsh Lake or north of Marsh Lake?
You mean that new
South.
Hunter's Ridge or whatever?
You mean Hunter's Brook?
There we, yeah, that's, that.
This one?
That one, yeah, that's,
So that's here.
okay, there we go. That's, I got it.
So basically, what you're asking us tonight is to make a recommendation to approve a company to do the design work on the park.
Yes.
And the scope is like playground equipment and baseball field?
Parking lot, baseball field. Why am I struggling getting this back up? Oh,
The first phase already has the playground in it, so this is the second phase, which is just the ball field and parking lot.
Oh, gotcha. And are they right next to?
So this is, yeah, this is the parking lot. So this is the existing park that has, it has a play area, small shelter, basketball court, and then this is the area that we're talking about adding ball field and parking and then trails.
And do you have a sense of how many parking stalls will be there?
Probably in the 10 to 12 range. It'll be a small one. Because I think a lot of people are going to walk to this park from the
Yeah.
neighborhood, but we'll allow for, yeah, roughly about 10 to 12, my guess is. Once we get closer to design, we'll be able to figure out what can fit in there too.
Do you get much requests for associations and that to use baseball fields or soccer fields type of thing, or not really?
Like youth associations or homeowners associations?
Youth.
Youth, yes,
And do we let
Yes.
them? Okay.
yes. We try to minimize the amount of time we program for neighborhood parks, just because they can get really busy. So like out Lake Bridge, for example, we try to minimize 2 to 3 nights a week, so then the neighborhood still has an opportunity to use the park.
Gotcha.
So we really focus them at like Victoria Elementary School, D-Town Park, and then Lions Park are the kind of our 3 key areas that we really program hard.
Okay, other questions of Ann? If not, motion would be in order.
I move to recommend WSB and Associates for design services for Lakeside Estates Park Phase 2 at a cost of $34,605.
Okay, thank you. A motion by Jeanette. Is there a second to the motion?
I'll second.
Seconded by Terry. Okay, a motion's been made and seconded to recommend WSB and Associates for design services for Lakeside Estates Park Phase 2 at a cost of $34,605. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, please say no. Motion's carried. Thank you. Okay, next item is the September memberships at the rec center and report.
Yeah, each month we try to provide updates on existing memberships and check-ins. So for September, we're currently sitting at about 1,777. So in August, we had 1,799. We lose a lot of kids to college that are there, so those are the majority. But then now we're seeing an uptick of people coming back in particular pickleball players that will, I'm sure for October, our numbers will increase. So visits were also down a little bit, but I anticipate those going back up in October as well. We continue to have fitness classes, a lot of different programming still going on. So just, again, providing an update and happy to answer any questions on that, if anybody has any.
Any questions for Ann? Also included in your packet were a couple news articles that I found real interesting, one on pickleball and another one on cities that are looking at raising funds through bonding or sales tax. So if you haven't had a chance to read those, I would suggest you do. Found the pickleball one that's really growing. I just chuckled when there was an private company, I think it was in Ohio, that was chicken and pickle.
Yeah,
So I'm starting a chain of,
I've been to the one in Kansas City.
have you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, and I think if anybody read, I think it was last week, Tom Brady came out and is now a owner of, I think, one of the.
Oh, that's right, that's right.
One of the professional pickleball teams, along with,
LeBron.
yes, LeBron James,
James,
and there was another woman, that professional athlete that was also, I anticipate that probably is gonna go crazy too with, as we move on, so.
How's the COVID situation? You still doing stuff for COVID?
We are not right at the moment, so we will continue to monitor that. And if we need to make changes, we will, but
Looks like
otherwise,
it's really moderating, so
yeah,
fingers crossed.
yeah, hopefully, so, yeah.
One of the things in the article that was on funding sources, and I know at our last meeting, we talked about asking for additional information, and from Tricia and Ann eventually, when you have time to put that together, and I think was helpful when you said 18 months on a referendum. would also be interesting on the sales tax. And I guess what I'd really like to see our committee do is I'd like to have us study what all those different options are, and then present to the city council a recommendation on how we feel, the rec committee feels that we can best approach our trail gap issue, and recognizing that the council has a final decision. But instead of just bringing up a random idea, I'd like us to kind of do the homework and then make a intelligent, well-thought-out presentation on a recommendation for their consideration. So, you know, it doesn't have to be next month or the month after, but, you know, in the coming period of time, if staff has time to pull some of that together so we can start putting that together and have that be part of our discussion at this meeting. It might take us several months to come up with a recommendation, but I'd like to see us do that. Ann, do you have any updates on any of the other, I guess you do.
Yeah, just a brief update on our some of the projects that we had going and continue to have going. The Lions Park tennis court and basketball court was completed. We did a final walkthrough this last week before it got too cold, so that has been now completed. The pickleball court construction is going quite well. The paving and concrete is completed. The outer and court fencing is up. Electrical installed. And with the weather turning the way it did, we couldn't paint this year, so we'll be finishing up in the spring. So those guys have now pulled out, and we'll be back in the spring to finish up with that. The Bavaria Trail East from Alley Lane to County Road 18 will also be a spring project. We ended up tying that with the larger Steiger Lake Lane project, and then also the Green Crest sidewalk along 43. We combined all those projects, and so they will be starting that in the spring of 2023 as well.
Lots of stuff happening.
There is lots of stuff happening.
On the pickleball, paving and concrete, so all the surfaces are done? Cool.
It actually looks like a it actually looks like a pickleball court. Multiple ones.
It's nice to have an update to see some of the projects that are being done and completed and moving forward. We've had a number of those the last few years. Wasserman last year was up and running, and now we have these improvements, so that's very, very positive for our community.
Yes, one thing, thank you for bringing up Wasserman. One thing I'd like to note that we are having some issues out there with vandalism. We have now locked the bathrooms except for rentals of the facility. It just was getting, every single day something was happening out there, so. You know, but the berry bushes that we've got out there were all over the shelter and doors, and I know it was very unfortunate to have to come to that. So we're gonna have to be looking at once we get fiber optic out there, looking at cameras and maybe some additional lighting. It's just such an isolated place, but we had a good run through most of the summer, and then unfortunately we started having some issues out there. So if you pass the word, if people are out and about, keep an eye on things out there. So very unfortunate, but
Was it bad, Ann? Like,
it's just clean up every single day, you know.
How's the Friends of Wasserman or that group?
We have not really got an official group of Friends of Wasserman. We've had different volunteers throughout the summer picking up out there. So that's been kind of the extent of it. I haven't gotten a full-time, like, people committed to that. So if people are interested in it, certainly contact me.
Okay.
And has somebody been able to contact the HOA out at Wasserman just to let them know that, hey, Because it's probably one of their kids.
It's quite possible, but yeah, I haven't done that yet. We just did it.
Made that decision.
Yes, so, yeah, we'll be sending out some information, I think, to them. It's, but there's only a few houses that actually border up to it, and they're so difficult, they can't see, in either, so it's challenging, and especially if kids are coming in by bike or walking in, you don't even know they're in there, so, but,
Right.
yeah. Yes, I will be, we'll be getting some information out to them and seeing if they can assist.
Okay, anything else for the good of the cause?
I wanted to ask Ann, we haven't had any response for a youth participant on the commission?
No.
And who do we contact, like the?
We've sent, I think, early on, when we first were doing the recruiting, I think we went to the high schools. And then from there, I don't know, but I can touch base with Kendra on our next upcoming one.
Okay.
Because it'll be that time of year again soon.
We probably need an emoji sensitivity training class.
Okay.
Okay, anything else? If not, motion is in order to adjourn.
I move to adjourn.
A motion's been made to adjourn. Is there a second?
Second.
Second, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, say no. We're adjourned.
This
Thank you.
record.
Yes, it is.